Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Points of Articulation. My name's David, and if you're new to the channel, welcome everybody. Today I'm looking at the Star Wars Titanium series P-38 Starfighter, released in 2008. This vessel was first seen in Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So this is a very interesting ship, and it does have some cool features on this bad boy. Now the real name of this vessel is the Utopian Porax 38 Starfighter. And it's really interesting because it is the P-38, and it does have two sections going in the back like this. We could call them, let's call them booms. Now, these booms that go down this way are very similar to the Lockheed P-38, which is an American World War II aircraft, and it's similar because it also has dual booms like this. And go check that ship out, it's very cool and it's real. And, you know, it's really awesome how Star Wars, even though it's fantasy / sci-fi, it does take elements from World War II all the time and incorporate them into ships, vehicles, and weapons. Especially the Empire. A lot of their weapons are German weapons, just spray painted different colors and this and that. So really interesting stuff. Now moving on, this vessel has other names such as the Rogue-class Starfighter and the Magna Guard Starfighter as well. So moving on to the size for this particular miniature, this baby measures in a tad over 2¼ inches long, which is very nice. So everybody should know how my videos go by now. We're going to take a quick look at the mold, the paint, put on a stand, compare it to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. So let's get moving. So let's get this video started looking at the mold. Like in all my videos, I'll go over all the major sections of the item, and we'll get a nice close-up look to see those fine details. So for the major points, we have our heavy laser cannons on the sides. Looking good. Now on the boom sections or engines, in the front, we have comms and sensors, similar to the Y-Wings domes on the engines. That's what these guys do. Then, of course, moving in, we have our fuel tanks in here, and in the back is engines, and these gray parts are thrusters, and that's really awesome. In the aft section, we have a hyperdrive engine as well as life support. In the front, a cockpit which opens, so let's take a quick look at that. Now opening up that cockpit, it's really simple. You just raise it up and you can see a seat, a control panel. Pretty interesting. And just shut it. Boop. And that's pretty awesome, right? Now on the hull, we don't have much detail, but we do have some minor line work in raised areas. Looking pretty interesting. On the bottom of the ship, 2 screws holding it together, peg port for the stand, copyright crap. Some minor detail here and there. Very smooth. But on the whole, a very interesting ship. I do like the design quite a bit. I think it's kind of unique, and it does stand out in the collection. So that does it for all the major parts of this beauty. So now let's get a closer look. And now having a closer look at the P-38, we'll begin with the main body going around, and then the wings, followed by the engines. So for the main body top, we have some nice recessed line work. Looking good. It's very minimal on this ship, but it does exist. And the cool thing is that line right there, the recesses, go all the way around to the bottom. And that's a nice touch. But focusing back on the top, we have this beautiful side sections here. Looking good, nice and curvy. I think they came out great. Nice. Now for the centerpiece, beautiful curve here. We have a hinge with our plastic cockpit. Looking pretty good. Now, like I mentioned before, this can open. As you can see, we have a chair in there, a control panel. Looking good. Now, the only issue I can find with this particular area is when the canopy drops. It doesn't exactly fit 100%. But it gets the job done, and I kind of dig how it looks anyway. Really cool. Now moving on to the bottom. The raised section on the sides continues. We do have a seam line, however. Minor line work. The raised rounded body around the peg port. Looking good. As we saw before, recessed line work in the aft. With that seam line, copyright crap on the sides. Pretty nice. And then, of course, we have the 2 screws. So that does it for the main body. Now looking at the bottom section of the booms. Looking good. Very smooth. Not really anything to talk about on the bottoms. So now let's take a look at the fronts. So looking at the tops here, or I should say the front, we have a nice recess here. Looking good. I love the protrusions out here. Really interesting. On the sides, we really don't have much to talk about. As you can see, it's very blah. But on the side, besides the seam line, we do have a pipe or hose that comes out the side and goes towards the top. And that also connects to the side right here. You can see the hose go all the way up. Now in these booms, there should be fuel tanks, I think right about here towards the aft. So I guess these pipes have something to do with that. But coming around the top, we can see a nice raised section coming down. And then we have our engine, which we'll get to in a bit. But for the sides, we have minor recess line work. As you can see, it's barely there. We have that rounded section. We have the tip of the wing. And then we have our heavy laser cannon, which has two little pipes going right to the tip here. And there's the tip. Nothing special. And the aft is no different. Minor line work right above my finger. And then the aft right here. It's hard to see, but it is there. And then it's rounded. And both sides are the same, which is why I'm just focusing on one. But it is a very interesting design. I will give it that. Very cool. Now for the engine itself, a very interesting design. We have recesses where the yellow is, thrusters on the top, which are nicely detailed on the top and bottom. Looking really good. We do have a little raised section right here on the side. And those are actually on wings themselves, or pylons. See if I can get an aft shot for you guys. Little hair there. I tried to dust this off with a Q-tip, because this is one of my older models. But really interesting. I think that looks cool. And on the side, we also have a little raised section right there. And again, it is the same on this side. There's no real differences here. But a fantastic looking mold here. Excellent. And that does it for the mold. Hopefully I covered everything. The ship may look very basic and blah, but I personally think it does have a lot going for it. A very unique shape. Lots of little odds and ends are all over here, and I love the back sections with the thrusters and engines and all that. Really cool. So now let's take a look at that paint. And now looking at that paint on the Star Wars Titanium Series P-38 Starfighter. This baby features about 8 different colors. First color up is a nice metallic purple. On the main body here, in my opinion, it looks kind of cool. We've only had a small handful of purple ships, so this is pretty nice. You can see it's painted on the bottom as well. Looking good. Now an issue to maybe some would be that the plastic rubbery pieces compared to the die-cast center isn't exactly painted the same color. You can see how we have this lighter metallic gray on the back, the wings, and the sections right here next to the comms, which is, even though it does have a tint of purple or pink, it is much more metallic light gray. And you could definitely see the color change here. It's not just me. You know, you can see it in the camera. It's night and day. But it is what it is, and I gotta be, honest. I do like the color difference here. It sort of adds a little bit to it. I would have preferred it all being the same color purple, but it is what it is. Moving on from there, we do have dark gray for these hoses on the sides. The back thrusters here and here, and on the bottom. That does it for that. We have yellow for the engines, so that's pretty awesome. We have rose gold for the back of the laser cannons, and that's on the bottom. They're fully painted all the way around. But also the comms and scanners or sensors, they are rose gold as well. Moving on from there, we do have gold for the tips of the heavy laser cannons, so that's a nice touch. And then we have black for these beautiful designs. Very nice. And you can see them on the sides here. It's a little hard to make out because of the position of that laser cannon, but very nice. Very clean, too. Pretty awesome. Nice design work. Now, besides all those colors, it does have a wash, or I should say, some sort of spray as well. You can see it, there is definitely an arc just sprayed there, sprayed right here. You can see how it's a little heavy there and there. On the bottom, it's sprayed right here. And then it does have a light wash, filling in those lines just a little bit. It's not really that heavy, except on the top. You can see how it's all over here. All in all, a very nicely painted ship. So now let's put this baby back on a stand, compare it to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. And just like other Titanium series ships, it comes with a cool stand, very reminiscent of the Action Fleet. Just peg it into port like so. And just like that, everybody, you are good to go. And now for a quick size comparison with the Star Wars Titanium series P-38 Starfighter seen in the center. I have it next to some other Separatist vessels. First, on the right-hand side, we have the droid Hyena Bomber, a really nice piece. And finally, on the left-hand side, we have the Vulture droid. Very cool looking designs here, and if you're interested in seeing reviews of any of these ships, check the links in the description below. And that does it today for my review of the Star Wars Titanium series P-38 Starfighter released in 2008. Now this ship is really cool for the mold. Yeah, it does look sort of basic here and there, but it's got a lot of beautiful recesses, nice raised sections, and the actual ship itself is a very, very interesting design with laser cannons, engines, sensors. It's really cool, and the fact that it has an opening cockpit, it's really the icing on the cake. Now for the paint, I do enjoy the color scheme, especially that metallic purple with the rose gold and the gold in the front. A very nice mixture of colors. Now when it comes to the light metallic gray and the metallic purple, I wished it was one solid color, but what are you going to do? It is what it is, and having it gray and purple mixed up, it does kind of look interesting, I'm not going to lie. And you can't forget it does come with a nice stand to help it blend in with the rest of the collection. So that's everything I have to say about this unique ship today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button. And if you'd like to see new reviews every Thursday, subscribe. Again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for checking out my channel, watching this video. It really means a lot to me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody.